An animal shelter director arrested after a dog is found suffering. And Texas Rangers fire their guns at 3 suspects, killing one of them. Just ahead at 10. Tonight on CBS 19, Longview police investigating the deaths of 2 people after their bodies are found in separate locations. Why one of the deaths is suspicious. Also, Texas Rangers involved in a shootout in Van Zandt County. At least 1 person dead. We'll take you to the scene. And the director of a local animal shelter will have to answer to several charges, including animal cruelty. We'll tell you about what she's accused of doing to animals she was supposed to be helping. Good evening, I'm Gillian Sheridan. Mike has the night off. The weekend looks to be one you are definitely going to spend some time outside. We head over to meteorologist Doc Deason for a preview of the forecast.
Yeah, it's hard to beat this, what's coming up. It was nice today, and tomorrow's going to be even better, guys. Let's look outside and see what we have. Weather Authority Live Camera Network. We have got Longview's camera, 46 right now. Winds are out of a northerly direction, at least coming around our building there, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Let's look at Weather Computer. We'll put our almanac page in together real quick for you as you get sunrise and sunset numbers in place for tomorrow. A lot of folks will want to be out and about. We have a little bit more daylight to work with tomorrow as we gain about a minute or so. Tyler and also in Longview sunrise about 7:20 or so. Day planner numbers. 41 at 8 o'clock. We'll be up to 65 along the I-20 corridor, Tyler and Longview. If you're down in southern counties, Lufkin, Nacogdoches, Crockett, and the like down there, St. Augustine County, you'll be looking at probably mid to upper 60s in a lot of spots. So that's going to be just a heck of a way to start the weekend off. We have a weak little cool front which is going to slide through the area on Saturday evening. That'll back temperatures off a notch or 2, but nothing too bad, and we'll be looking good for Sunday as well, Gillian. Back with a 7-day. We talk about some more cold air, believe it or not. I know you're shocked about that, but we'll handle it in a minute, okay?
Warm weather sounds good. Thank you, Doc. Now to a developing story we're following. Longview police are looking for clues in 2 deaths tonight. The bodies found today just hours apart. One the result of a shooting, the other the body of a homeless man right near a walking trail. CBS 19's Risa Morris shows us the strange circumstances surrounding both deaths.
On what neighbors call a quiet street in South Longview, police officers pulled in one after another this morning.
I'd come out early this morning around 9 o'clock, and there wasn't any police out here. And then I come back, I look out the door, and there's police everywhere. So I'm not really sure what happened. I didn't hear any type disturbance of gunshots or anything of that nature. I just seen the police out here.
A body was found in this home with gunshot wounds. Gregg County Justice of the Peace James Mathis says a male was found in the home, but he wouldn't release the name, race, or age of the man. But neighbors say the person who lives in this home is a woman.
As far as I know that, she lived there alone, but, you know, she had visitors come and stuff like that. She had company from time to time.
Detectives from the Longview Police Department haven't identified a suspect in the shooting, but they are still investigating. 2 hours later, in another part of town, the body of a homeless man was found near a popular walking path.
A citizen had actually seen what she thought was a tent in the woods, went out, checked it out, and there was, we believe, a dead body inside that tent.
It was on Cargill Long Park Trail. Officer Bryan says the body was decomposing, meaning it had been out there for some time.
It's a walking trail. A lot of people use it to run, to walk on. It's, you know, it goes through the woods, and it was kind of off the beaten path, so to speak.
Officers with the Longview Police Department are still investigating how and why both these men died.
Now, both of these bodies will be sent for autopsy. Then officers will see what clues they can gather from those results.
And, Risa, I'm sure if people have any information about either of these situations, law enforcement probably wants to hear from them.
They're still looking for clues, both the Longview Police Department and Crime Stoppers. So if you know anything at all, call either of those organizations.
All right. Thank you, Risa. We have those phone numbers for you to contact either of those organizations. Those numbers right here on your screen, Longview Police or Crime Stoppers. In Rusk County, investigators are trying to identify a body found in a home that caught fire this morning. It was reported on County Road 291. The body was sent to Tyler for an autopsy for identification and cause of death. Texas Rangers fire their guns at 3 suspects in Van Zandt County, killing 1 and wounding a second. It happened just north of Maybank around 1 o'clock this afternoon. An ATF agent and several Texas Rangers were attempting to arrest 3 suspects when they took off. The chase ended in a shootout on County Road 2718. One suspect died at the scene, another taken by helicopter to a Tyler hospital. The third person was taken by ambulance to a Kaufman hospital for unknown injuries. Now, none of the officers were hurt in this, and it's not clear why the suspects were being investigated. The director of an Jacksonville animal shelter expected to answer to several charges of animal cruelty tomorrow following an arrest today. 35-year-old Angela Wallace was taken into custody at Klein Animal Shelter in Jacksonville this morning. Police say complaints of alleged abuse there go back more than 2 years, but it wasn't until this week that investigators finally had enough evidence to make an arrest.
And we received a report of a dog that was there, that had been there several days, had a broken back, that was laying in a little cage, no pain medications from what we know, and that was laying in its own feces and urine.
Employees are also accused of leaving animals in cages out in the cold, euthanizing animals without a license, and one employee allegedly kicked a dog to death. Wallace is charged with animal cruelty, illegal euthanasia, and assaulting a former employee. Police say more charges are expected to be brought against her, and warrants are also out for the arrest of 2 former shelter employees. Meanwhile, the city of Tyler is not taking any animals to the shelter, which appears at this point to be shut down. And that dog that you just heard about that was left suffering with a broken back and no pain medication, his name is Henry. He was taken to Texas A&M for care. Nicholas Pet Haven, a no-kill shelter, has set up a fundraising page online. Its goal is to raise $4,000 for his care. The group is about $800 from reaching that goal tonight. To learn how to donate, head to CBS19.tv and click on the hot button. A follow-up now. We are learning more about the suspect in yesterday's murder-suicide in Smith County. Court records show 41-year-old Delethra Bell, believed to be the gunman in yesterday's shooting, has a history of violence. Bell was arrested in 1995 on aggravated assault charges, accused of pushing his then-girlfriend down the stairs and threatening her with a gun. 2 years later, Bell was charged with terroristic threats. And in 2000, Bell completed deferred adjudication after being charged with assaulting another woman. Well, Brownsboro police have released the identity of a woman killed in a wreck with an 18-wheeler yesterday. Julie Patrick of Tyler died when, for some reason, her car veered into oncoming traffic on Highway 31, hitting an 18-wheeler head-on. The investigation into that accident continues. And a manhunt continues tonight in Belgium for 3 people believed to have been trained Islamic State fighters in Syria. The search comes as dozens of suspects were rounded up in that country and 2 others following the deadly attacks in Paris last week. CBS's Tina Kraus has the latest.
Europe is on high alert after Belgian, French, and German police rounded up more than 24 terror suspects. Thursday, officers killed 2 terror suspects in eastern Belgium who were planning large-scale attacks on police. A 3rd suspect was arrested. The government is now using troops to boost security and is taking IDs from people suspected of traveling abroad with terror in mind.
But these fighters who are going abroad, whether it's to Iraq, Syria, Yemen, or elsewhere, really do pose a threat, and so counterterrorism officials are taking no chances.
Officials have not linked the latest arrest to the attacks in Paris last week that killed 17 people. On Friday, hundreds gathered to say goodbye to the Charlie Hebdo editor killed in the newspaper massacre. Secretary of State John Kerry also visited the French capital and took a moment to remember the victims.
We will turn this moment of profound loss into lasting commitment.
During Thursday's terror raids, Belgian authorities found assault rifles, bomb-making materials, and police uniforms, raising concerns terrorists may be trying to pass themselves off as police officers. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Meanwhile, the 20-year-old Ohio man charged with plotting to set off bombs at the U.S. Capitol will be held without bond until a court appearance next week. FBI investigators say Christopher Cornell also planned to shoot government officials. He was arrested Wednesday outside a gun shop near Cincinnati. A Maryland woman pleads guilty in the exorcism murders of her 2 small children, but she won't be spending any time in prison. Instead, 22-year-old Monifa Sanford will be committed to a psychiatric hospital. Prosecutors say Sanford and the mother of 2 children killed believe that evil spirits possessed the bodies of the children, just 1 and 2 years old. They were brutally killed to drive the demons out, she said. 2 other children, 7 and 8 years old, survived the violent attack. The mother expected to go to trial later this year. The nation's highest court has agreed to decide once and for all the issue of same-sex marriage. At issue, does the Constitution guarantee of equal protection under the law mean that gay couples have the same right to marry as straight couples? Greg Boswell has the story from Washington, D.C. tonight.
Gay and lesbian couples are expected to find out this year if they can legally marry in every state. The Supreme Court says it will rule on the power of states to prohibit same-sex marriages. April DeBoer and Jane Rouse are challenging Michigan's ban on same-sex marriage.
This is probably the proudest day in my great lesbian life that I've had. We're in awe that this day has happened.
Momentum has been building for same-sex couples since 2003, when the justices struck down laws in nearly a third of the country that made homosexual sex a crime. 12 years later, 36 states allow lesbians and gays to marry. In April, the Supreme Court will review bans on same-sex marriage in 4 of the 14 states where it remains illegal. Some advocates for traditional marriage are also welcoming the court's decision to take up the cases. The National Organization for Marriage issued a statement saying, "We will be watching this case closely and anticipate an eventual victory for the democratic process, religious liberty, and the cherished institution of marriage." A decision from the Supreme Court is expected in June. Greg Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Attorney General Eric Holder says the Justice Department will file a friend of the court brief to urge the justices to make marriage equality a reality for all Americans. Employees and guests at UT Health Science Center paid tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today in preparation for the holiday on Monday.
Oh, the trouble.
Employees sang and a reverend spoke, sharing the messages of Dr. King. Reverend Ralph Carraway Sr. spoke of his memories of Dr. King.
Dr. King was about equality and trying to end discrimination. And so when we remember him, the legacy that he has is that he had a concern for all people, regardless to their creed or their color, to live in the best America that was possible.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day will be celebrated Monday. Many schools and businesses will be closed to pay tribute to the civil rights leader. Still ahead tonight on CBS 19 News at 10. Unusually warm temperatures in Alaska and a fall heat wave in California. Find out just how hot it was in 2014. First, a car gets trapped underneath a bus. A closer look at this wreck that wasn't as bad as it looks.
This is KYTX CBS 19 News at 10.
A nasty crash to show you involving a car and a school bus that was full of children. It happened in Houston this morning. Amazingly, no one was seriously hurt. It happened after a car got stuck underneath the bus. It took responders about 45 minutes to pull the driver from that wreck. Look at that, it's crushed. The driver was then put in a neck brace and taken to a hospital, along with the driver of the bus and then one of the 22 students on board. A Conroe man is killed after a helicopter crashed this afternoon in the Woodlands. The chopper crashed into a wood fence near an open area between a house and a church. No one on the ground was hurt. The pilot, identified as 51-year-old Jen Mims. The FAA is investigating that crash. And it is official, 2014. The hottest year ever. That coming from a climate report from NASA and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Here's a look at some of the temperatures recorded around the world. In the U.S., last month was the second warmest December on record. In Europe, 2014 was warmer than any other year since records have been kept. And in central Russia, temperatures reached 41 degrees higher than normal. Scientists say it's all a clear sign that global warming is still very much affecting the Earth.
This planet is in trouble, and it will only get worse unless we move boldly to cut carbon emissions.
The White House agrees, saying the report is a reminder that climate change is happening and that we can't wait to take action.
From your local news leader, here's your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Doc Deason.
Well, as we look outside of Weather Authority Live Camera Network, and we've got 50 right now here at the studio. Not much of anything going with the wind this evening, nor do we expect to have much of that going tonight either. Let's look and see what we have as far as our highs are concerned, or we're concerned today. 60 the high today in Tyler, 59 at Nacogdoches. We got above the 60-degree mark, though, at Longview and at Lufkin, and we're going to go way above that number tomorrow, finally, after having been so cold and below normal. We've been so far, I think, about 8 degrees below normal for the entire month across the East Texas area. So temperatures definitely not where you'd expect them to be for this time of year. Clouds, yeah, there's still some out there. They're thin and they're pretty high, but we will continue to watch for those. Just a couple of them overnight tonight. Temperatures are going to run warmer thanks to those clouds. 47 right now at Tyler, 50 at Mineola. You got 40 at Longview, 39. And those 30-degree temperatures, generally speaking, at our prime cold spots like Henderson and also at Nacogdoches, 36 there at the airport there in Nacogdoches, and 38 as you get up north into Mount Pleasant to Titus County. The air mass is still dry, yeah, but not nearly as dry as it was earlier in the week when we had dew points down in the single digits. 30s now for dew points, and this value will definitely help us out insofar as those of us who maybe have kind of some dry hands or that dry skin that we deal with oftentimes with the real cold air masses that come across the region this time of year. Satellite and radar composite shows a general west to east flow. Clouds, the high ones across East Texas, and then some additional clouds back across far west Texas, but not much of anything as far as moisture beneath those. Temperatures in the 40s across a good piece of the area tonight. You get to 50 down towards San Antonio and further south in towards Laredo, but otherwise a very pleasant night region-wide. Nationally speaking, we got some cooler air up towards the Great Lakes, but nothing really getting too big in front of us here as far as cold weather, at least the next 3 to 5 days, but that's going to change later on. In-house computer model tonight, we'll continue to see temperatures coming down, but at a respectable pace, nothing too out of the ordinary, and definitely warmer than we were this morning. Tomorrow morning, where I think we're going to do good to hit 40 in a lot of spots. We will warm quickly tomorrow and be back up well above 60, I think, by lunchtime for most folks. I think we top out probably 64, 65 along I-20. Warmer across the southern counties of East Texas down towards Lufkin, San Augustine, and Nacogdoches, and we will see a little bit drier air mass come into place tomorrow night. Winds out of the south again tonight. Won't be much of a breeze, but it'll be somewhat moving a little bit. We get breezy tomorrow afternoon. South-southwest winds 10 to 15. That's going to help in the warming process, and then everything kind of switches back around into a northerly direction for tomorrow night. That's signaling a weak little boundary which is going to slide through, and as it does so, it'll just kind of help to reinforce some of the cool air that's what will have established itself behind the boundary, which ain't going to be much. 40 tonight, 65 tomorrow, and then we go 37 tomorrow night with that slightly cooler punch. 62 Sunday, so still very nice. Mid-60s on Monday. A lot of folks had the day off, so good there. 61 on Tuesday. We'll start to ease the temperatures down for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. 40s for highs. Mid-40s may be a bit on the generous side for the latter half of next week, and that's exactly what Gillian is wanting to hear. Updates from me over the weekend on Twitter and Facebook, and of course you can always keep tabs on us at CBS19.tv. So don't get too used to the short sleeves, and you know how that goes.
But enjoy it while it lasts.
Exactly. Instead of hot chocolate, maybe a little sweet tea tomorrow might
Sounds
work good.
All right, thank you, Doc.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are you looking to enjoy a pet without committing to the responsibility? Well, we'll tell you about one local shelter's program where you can take a dog home and then return it when you like. And driving in Tyler's Azalea District will soon feature less stops. We'll explain after the break. The City of Tyler approves $140,000 to expand its traffic light system in the Azalea District. The system is used for light timing, which council members say is needed for busy intersections like 5th and Broadway. All changes are expected to take place by June.
ACS system will allow people to basically turn on Broadway from the loop or continue north, and the goal is they will get a green light all the way to Front Street.
That would be nice. The city has used the adaptive control system for 62 different intersections in Tyler. The system operates like a sensor indicating when to change from red to green and vice versa. A unique program is bringing people and rescue dogs together in Gilmer. The program is called the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, but for dogs. It allows people to rent out dogs from Gilmer's Hope House for Pets. People can choose to keep the dog as long as they want and then return it. Now, besides helping with the financial aspect of the pets, dogs also get interaction with people, making them more adoptable.
They really need to be socialized. They have to learn to play with people and animals and not be aggressive, and they really don't learn that here in the clinic. We try to socialize them, but we just don't have the time to interact with each one.
Now, renting one of these animals is free of charge. The Hope House for Pets in Gilmer is holding an adoption clinic at the PetSmart in Longview tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. She can be a dog owner for a day or a lifetime. All right, a busy day in the East Texas sports world today, isn't it, Jeff?
It almost seemed unusually busy, Gillian. I mean, we're always pretty busy,
right.
But, you know, a lot of different things. We're talking a lot of softball and football, but also basketball. It's basketball season, after all. All Saints Trojans off to quite a start. We'll see if they can pick up another W tonight.
I know there are a lot of choices out there for knowing what's going on in the world. I choose CBS 19.
Get your news when you want it. Visit CBS19.tv. From your local news leader, it's time for Big Board Sports with Jeff Schaffer.
After the lengthy Texas high school football season wrapped up last month, we're now well into high school hoops, and one of the most impressive teams in East Texas so far resides in the private school ranks. The boys from All Saints, 24-2, entering the night and ranked 8th in the state in the latest large private school poll from the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. Trojans hosting Prince of Peace tonight in Tyler. Matt Brunson there feeds Spencer Ball for the bucket plus the foul. Then a little bit later, nice spin by Jared Maddox. Gets it to drop as well. Then it's Maddox going cross court to Sean Phillips. You can't leave him that wide open. Knocks down the corner three. And then more from Maddox here. Nice little move, gets to the rim and gets the layup to drop. All Saints cruises in this one. Trojans win it big, 91-58 to improve to 25-2 on the season. Up on the pro parquet, the Mavericks visited Denver back on Wednesday for a date with the Nuggets. It was sort of the Mavericks, that is. Dirk Nowitzki, Tyson Chandler, and Rajon Rondo all sat out of that game. Dallas lost by 7. Mavs back in action tonight against the Nuggets again. Dirk, Chandler, and Rondo all played tonight, and, well, there's the difference. Dallas wins at 97-89. Dirk scored 25 to lead all scorers. Spurs also in action tonight. San Antonio beats the Blazers 110-96. Well, it's time to get ready for what's become an East Texas tradition, the 5th annual Heart of a Champion All-Star Football Game. The contest features players, coaches, and cheerleaders from all over East Texas. And this year's coaching staffs were announced today. But that's not all. For the first time, the Northeast Texas FCA is also holding a Heart of a Champion softball All-Star Game. The head coaches for this year's contests, Tenahaw's Terry Ward and White House's Adam Cook on the gridiron, while Matt Fulmer from Carthage and Harmony's Brian Mock are the head coaches for the softball game. The coaches also conducted player drafts for both games today. Local FCA Director Robert Barton says the interest in the football game has grown over the years, and adding softball makes the event even better.
It really does just add another level of excitement to know that we're going to have an event like this for the ladies in this area is just great.
I love what Robert said earlier, because the next thing is we're going to then begin to have a lot of people who are going to say, you know, why don't we do baseball and why don't we do this? So if you're out there and you've got a heart for that, man, let's get this thing going and make it a whole, you know, the whole month of June.
A little more softball to discuss. The Kilgore College softball team held a signing day ceremony today for 8 players, including several that hail from East Texas. You can hear from several of those signees online. Just head to etfinalscore.com later this evening. And speaking of athletes moving on to the next level, former Tyler Junior College soccer star O'Neal Fisher, he's working on that. Yesterday, he was drafted by the Seattle Sounders in the MLS Super Draft. Fisher spent 2 years at TJC, then 2 at New Mexico, and as you can see, also happened to win a national championship at TJC. You know, former Apache Dom Dwyer, he recently visited TJC. He's doing pretty well in the MLS. Maybe another former Apache going to make a name for himself as well in the pros.
Absolutely. We've got some good talent here.
We sure do, on all kinds of sports.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure.
All right, Doc has tomorrow's forecast after the break, and we'll be right back.
Quality reporting. Exclusives. CBS 19 News. Coverage you can count on.
Weather-wise, we're going to look at 40s to mid-60s tomorrow afternoon. We'll see some mid to upper 60s, Lufkin, Nacogdoches, Crockett area tomorrow. 62 on Sunday. Weak little front comes through Saturday evening. Otherwise, we're in the 60s through Tuesday. Start to cool down. Looks like we get way cool Thursday, Friday.
That's a great forecast right there.
I think so, too.
Finally tonight, cheese banned from a city near Seattle as the Seahawks take on the Green Bay Packers Sunday for a spot in the Super Bowl. It's true. City manager of Bainbridge Island State, due to the relationship between the Green Bay Packers and cheese, eating cheese or cheese-flavored products banned from City Hall. Wisconsinites are not standing for the ban and say the move is kind of upping the ante for the NFC Championship game on Sunday.
Some people just take sports way too seriously, guys.
Yeah, who does that?
Present company excluded.
Thanks for watching CBS 19 News at 10. Enjoy the great weather this weekend. Join us for the weekend edition tomorrow night. Have a great night.
KYTX CBS 19 News app is brought to you by Hyundai of Longview. You pick it out, we'll work it out. We're KYTX. Texas is in our name.